Hey guys, Dark Prometheus here with another episode of Front Office Football 7. So, Matt Slauson is starting from last week, I believe, still. Let's make sure. Yeah. We put Ola uh, as on the inactive list. We released Leno, picked up Kendall Hunter, and so because Kadeem carries out, so we are ready to get this going. Um, Yeah, Kadeem carries out with a broken toe. Questionable. He probably probable 2 weeks. It's probably next episode. McClellan is probable right now, but really there's no point to rushing him. I don't want to lose him for a part of next season, because I believe that is possible in a front office football 7. If your player gets hurt pretty bad, and it's like 40 or 50 weeks or whatever, it will actually extend into next season. So that's a cool thing in here. And I actually picked up the draft class online at Operation Sports from on there of this year's draft class that we just had, and then also 2016. So I'm looking to bring this out 2 years and go from there. So let's see. I think we're ready just to at least look at the game. Against Tampa Bay, we have everything better except our running backs. My guess is Forte can't compensate for two good running backs if they have two. Actually, let's look at their scouting report. So they have Doug Martin, Scott Solomon. Let's see. Doesn't look like he's going to be a starter. The roster. Wonder where you would see that. I don't think he's a starter per se. No, he hasn't started a game, so he's questionable. Mason Foster will play, and McDougal. He's only started one game because of injury. So looks like Deshaun Goldson and Mark Barron are both healthy right now. I believe, yeah, Major Wright, Deshaun Goldson. So yeah, I should have just looked over here to see Hutton thing. So really, I mean, I could victimize this defense, especially Jonathan Banks, and then C.J. Hutton. Could victimize those guys. Mike Lennon. Hopefully we can get some on there, but I think get some hits on it. But I believe he's gonna throw it all to Doug Martin, especially with Javorsky Lane as a fullback. I mean, they could throw a lot. I mean, good pass protection, blocking power. I mean, their only weakness is their right guard. So it looks like rushing offense. Looks like they've been stopped a lot. Rushing defense. Looks like a lot of people have been rushing up the middle on them. Maybe because these two are more of a pass rush guys. Good heat ball carriers, pass rush. Passing. Looks like they've actually passed a lot. And their defense has given up a lot of short throws. So let's do this. Let's see if we can overcome Lovie Smith, who's 1-9. Almost damn near what it was this year. Oh. I have a player, probably Leno still. No longer on my team. Del Puente, this is going to be Del Puente. Williams. This should be it. Let's see if it. Yeah, I just didn't have a spot filled. So we're going to get the ball first. Here's Cutler intended to Brendan Marshall. It's intercepted. So Doug Martin loses 4. Sims makes a election, loses another 4. This is a false start. Glenn is sacked by Bostic, losing 8. But there's a penalty on the play. Doug Martin gets 4, and it's going to be kicked back to Chicago. So Forte gets 17 yards for the first down. Sean John gets 7. There's Cutler to Jeffrey for 11 yards. There's Marshall catching it for 36 yards. First and goal, and Zach Miller with a touchdown. So 7-0. Sims gets 3 yards. And then Myers catches it with 11. False start, though. Martin picks up 11. Mike Evans picks up 11. And here's a tackle by Lance Briggs. There's a run for 7. 3rd and 8. Evans goes nowhere. It's going to be given back to Chicago. Here's Kendall Hunter for no gain in his first carry of the game. There's Sean John for 8 yards. There's Alshon Jeffrey. It's knocked down by Major Wright. And so it's going to be punted back. There's Martin for 11 yards. Willie Young sacking the quarterback there. And then Houston sacking the cornerback. And then there's Houston applying pressure. And there's Owusu gets the first down off the catch for 10 yards. Martin gets no gain. Lamar Houston getting some pressure, 3rd and 10. And that isn't completed, but it's going to be a penalty on Chicago, giving them a first down. The next play, Vincent Jackson for the touchdown, 23 yards. There's no gain by Kendall Hunter. Forte Cutler can't get it to him. Cutler scrambles for 3 yards. Tampa Bay actually commits a penalty and pulls it back to their 7. But there's an 11-yard gain. There's a penalty. There's Mike Evans catching it for 11 yards. 3rd and 1. Sims gets 4 yards for the first down. 1st and 10 on the 30. Martin loses 2. Tackled by Ego Ferguson. Doug Martin goes for 6. 3rd and 6. That's incomplete. Trying to get to Chris Owusu. And Chris Williams drops the ball again. But this time it's recovered, and San Antonio Holmes gets the pass next play for 11 yards. Kendall Hunter gets 1 yard. 2nd and 9. Incomplete pass to Brandon Marshall. And here's one to Jeffrey in double coverage for 10 yards on a first down. Matt Forte rushes for 4 yards. Alshon Jeffrey breaking free for 21 yards and the touchdown. So Doug Martin gets 32 yards there until he's tracked down by Kyle Fuller. There's Doug Martin losing 5. There's Doug Martin getting those 5 and an additional 1 for 6 yards. Jackson gets 11 yards for the first down. 1st and 10. Lane gets 3 yards in the handoff. And there's Mike Evans for 3 yards. 3rd and 4. Sims only gets 1 yard. He's going to kick the field goal. And it goes back to Cutler. So there's Marshall for 13 yards. There's Jay Cutler to Bennett. And no one can catch him. Fakes it out. 62-yard touchdown. So 21-10 Bears. There's Doug Martin for 14 yards. And here's a stop by the Bears defense. There is Martin for a 1 yard gain. Stocker goes to 4. There's a penalty. It was declined, so the punt back to Chicago. And there's Forte with some good running room off the handoff for 34 yards and a false start after. And there's a long bomb. Incomplete. There's Bennett for 15 yards. Encroachment is additional 5 on the next play. There's Marshall for 9 yards. And there's Marshall again for 20 on the 24-yard gain and a touchdown. So Glennon gives it to Martin for 16 yards. There's Myers. It's not complete. Conti on the stop. There's a sack by Will Sutton. 3rd and 16. Evans is stopped there and gets nothing. There's Kendall Hunter. Gets 9 yards. Timeout by the Bears. 2nd and 10. Cutler decides to run for 8 yards. Timeout. There's Cutler throwing it all the way in the end zone, but it's going to be intercepted at the end of play in the first half. So there's Artie Fletcher with a fumble, but it's recovered by Tampa Bay. And it's going to be punted back, and there's Cutler not getting the pass to anyone. There's one to Marquise Wilson for 6 yards, 3rd and 4. Kendall Hunter gets 4 yards in the first down. So Zach Miller gets 10 yards for a first down. There's Cutler scrambling for 4 yards. There's 2nd and 11, and Bennett catches the ball for 22 yards. And there's 4 yards on the handoff. And there's Santonio Holmes for 6 yards. There's Kendall Hunter loses 2 there, 2nd and 12. Santonio Holmes catches the pass for 15 yards. Here's the Matt Forte, gets 1 yard. And here's a Sean John for 3 yards. 3rd and 2 on the 2, and Forte loses 1, so it's going to be a field goal, 31-10 Bears. There's Glennon giving it to Myers for 10 yards. Looks like the Bears are in command of this game. There's Vincent Jackson for 10 yards. There's Glennon. Can't get the ball, but it's going to be defensive holding, so it's going to be automatic first down. And there's an incomplete pass due to pressure. There's Glennon running for 1 yard. And that one's incomplete. 4th and 10, put it back to Chicago. So Forte on the handoff for 4 yards. There's Forte stop for no gain, 3rd and 6. Brandon Marshall makes the reception for 10 yards on a first down. And there's Forte for 3 yards. And Cutler to Jeffrey for 14 yards on a first down. So there's Forte for 7 yards. Cutler to Forte again, but he loses 1, 3rd and 4. And Forte loses another 4 yards, so it's going to be punted back to Glennon. Glennon gives to Martin for 5 yards. And Glennon gives to Martin, trying to get it on the pass, but it's incomplete. Here's one to Mike Evans for 3 yards for 4th and 2, so it's going to be punted back. And here's Forte losing 1 yard, 2nd and 11. There's Forte, plunging up the middle for 31 yards. A first down. There's Bennett catching for 4 yards. 2nd and 6 on the 16. Bennett catches the pass for 2 yards, 3rd and 4. Bennett catches a pass for 5 yards, 1st and goal on the 9. Here's Forte rush for 5, and he's 4 more. Bennett catches the pass for the last 4 for a touchdown. So the Bears are on a roll. Maybe it's just defense, or he just likes to play this game. But here's Glennon. Safarian Jenkins loses 4 there. 3rd and 8. Heron gets only 6 of that 8, so it's punted back. There's Kendall Hunter for no gain. There's Hunter for 3 yards. Luckily, it's recovered, the fumble by Martellus Bennett. There's Hunter again for 1 yard, but it's punted back to Tampa Bay. There's Sims losing 1 yard. And here is a pass on a double coverage, incomplete. Here's another one, double coverage, incomplete. 4th and 11, and here he just can't get anywhere. Actually, it's a punt there. False start, losing yards. Kendall Hunter for no gain. 3rd and 29. Kendall Hunter gets 1 yard out of it. It's punted back to Tampa. So there's Rainey for 7 yards. Here's Rainey for 9 yards. 37 seconds left. Safarian Jenkins loses 3. And there's Stocker for 27 yards. End of the 4th quarter. And the Bears are going to win 38-10. So finally we get our act together. Let's see exactly why and how. So Zach Miller's got a pass for a touchdown. Then Vincent Jackson got that off 23-yard pass. Then Alshon Jeffrey's 21-yard pass. They got their field goal, and then we had pass. So Martellus Bennett's got 2, Marshall's got 1, Jeffrey's got 1, Miller's got 1. And Robbie Gold's got his own. So there are 2 interceptions. That was the first play of the game. And then that was the second half. So one was a garbage. We got most of our first downs by passing. Okay, let's see here. All right. Yeah, so first one, and that's that bomb. Forte was 65. Kendall Hunter only got 18 and 11. Doug Martin, 104 on 16 carries. Glennon was 19 and 31. Cutler was 23 of 31. 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. All these targets caught. I dropped 1, 4, 6. Only dropped 8 passes. Oh, I guess I could just look there, because most of them are drops. That was the first play of the game. That was the end of the first half. So that was the one that we had. We recovered one fumble, right? No, we didn't recover any fumble. That fumble recovery was the one that Chris Williams had. So the one that Glennon had, we couldn't do anything about. That was the one that was forced by Artie Fletcher. We gave up no sacks. We had Lance Briggs had one, Lamar Houston had one, Sutton had one, Artie Fletcher had one. That was the fumble. We had a lot of hurries. We hit him a lot. We only had 3 defense. They had 4 defense, but 2 interceptions. It's good to see Conti coming in. We didn't allow any sacks. Theirs was on, yep, Rickershaw Johnson, the right guard. It's a good performance. So, Kadeem Carey is questionable. McClellan still, we're not going to mess with him. We know there's concerns. Christian Jones is still disgruntled, but hey, as he gets more playing time, he'll stop being disgruntled. So this time it's at Detroit. We have no changes that we want to make. Team summary. Let's look at it right now. Let's see, it's week 13. So we've played 11 games. Let's look how we stack up. Yeah, 11 games. So Cutler, opposing quarterbacks typically have better ratings than Cutler. Cutler's 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Rushing, Forte's got 600 yards on 143 carries, 4 touchdowns, 1 fumble. Kadeem Carey's lost 2 fumbles. Cutler's lost 2, but he has 3 rushing touchdowns. Let's see here. Marshall's targeted 93 times, has 59 catches though, 59 receptions for 780 yards, 2 drops, 2 touchdowns. Bennett really been the workhorse when it comes to the red zone. Forte has 3. Jeffrey has 2. Holmes, Zach Miller, and Wilson all have 1. Yards per catch. All right, defense. Bostic is leading us in tackles. So at least our little middle linebacker is leading us in tackles. So that's good. Sacks. Lamar Houston with 4. Allen has 3.5. So we need to get those sacks up. We need to revamp this entire defense next year. Because at this record, Mark Trestman will be fired. That's our coach, quote unquote. I don't know if all the coaches are actually in here as that. I want to say so. Conti's got an interception. Fuller's got 2. That rookie doing some work. Pass defense 6. He's got 28 tackles. Hugo Ferguson's doing great. 27 tackles, 13 assists. He's got 1.5 sacks. He's working that middle. He's got a lot of hurries. So he's doing a good job for a rookie. Christian Jones has actually got 20. And he hasn't even played that many games. He started 3. He's came in for 11. And he has more of that. Actually, we're going to be playing Christian Jones more. Probably. I mean, Shea has been hurt a lot this season. So that's why he's at 60. But I think we're actually going to have Christian Jones play here. Yeah. Christian Jones might be finishing out the season, not DJ Williams. So McClellan comes out the block. We may, and we're going to keep Williams on there. Activated at least. And then Ratliff, I think he's falling off right now. I mean, he's shoring up the middle. He's got 29 tackles, no sacks though. And then Allen is doing a good job. Tillman's okay. No interceptions this year though. Right now, but Conti and Mundy having almost 100 tackles together is not good. That's a sign they're getting into our secondary too much. But looks like Bostic and Fuller are doing a great job this year. So, Detroit. Looks like a mix. Their quarterback is doing better this year. I have the better running back, receiver, and offensive line. They have, well, obviously with Sue on their line, it's a no-brainer. Linebacker comparison, yeah, they have better linebackers. I have a better secondary. Receiver against their secondary, yes. My corners against their wide receivers. I guess they don't have anything. I guess I don't have a third good receiver to really challenge me in statistics, but I think we're gonna have some issues. Actually, they don't have a lot of points. They're allowing a lot of points. Detroit is 3-8. Are we gonna lose to a 3-8 team? Sean Mathis will probably play. Yeah, he is going to play. So Sims is out. He's only started 3 games because of injuries. Fair. Tolek is out. That makes it be Corwin Stewart. I don't know who that is. Jed Collins. So I don't know who's going to be playing fullback. Cassius Vaughn. Linebacker, corner. Cassius Vaughn isn't going to be playing. Rasheed Mathis might, but Slay probably will. George Jackson, don't worry because he's not playing. You know, even if he does, he's a backup. Warfield should be playing, yeah. Lucas should be, yeah. And Bridges. Wow. So obviously they're passing a lot this year. It's Matthew Stanford. But the injury bug has hit them hard. So, let's do this. Detroit's going to get the ball first. So, there's Reggie Burst for 8 yards. We're going to have issues containing him. There's Bush for 3 yards. And here's Joey Bell for 12 yards. And here's one to Witt for 4 yards. And there's Lance Briggs with an interception. Good defense. There's Cutler to Santonio Holmes for 10 yards. We need Cutler to not throw the ball, but there's a defensive holding that's good. There's Forte for 3 yards. We need to not throw any bad throws. And there's Kendall Hunter breaking one out for 19 yards. There's Hunter for 6 yards. There's Hunter for 1 yard. He just had some rush from last game. 3rd and 3. It's a loss of 3, but it's going to be a flag on Detroit, which is going to give the Bears a first down. There's Bennett for 3 yards. 2nd and 6. 3rd and 6. Failed the pass. So it's going to be 3 points for Chicago. When we had an issue there somehow with Detroit losing the ball on special teams. So there's Cutler to Bennett for 8 yards. That's a touchdown. 10-0. So there's Bush for 2 yards. There's Reggie Bush losing 4 yards. There's a false start with another 5, so 3rd and 17. And there's Johnson for 32 yards. There's Reggie Bush for 2 yards. There's Bush losing 4 yards again. And there's Stanford not getting the ball to his receiver, so it's going to be punted back to the Bears. There's Forte, stop for no game. 2nd and 10. And there's Cutler avoiding the rush and scrambling for 7 yards. 3rd and 3, and Marshall's going to pick up the rest with a 6-yard gain. Here's Miller for a gain of 3. Off the reception, there's Bennett with a reception of 3. 3rd and 4, Cutler's going to scramble for 8 for the first down. Sean John gets a handoff of 6. 2nd and 4, Kendall Hunter gets 5 there for a first down. There's Kendall Hunter stopped for no gain end of the first quarter. And there's Cutler sacked by Taylor. So there's Cutler evading the pressure, gains 8, but it's going to be punted back. And there's Eagle Ferguson making the fumble of Stanford, and it's actually recovered by Chicago. There's Forte for 6 yards on the 2, and gives it to Forte for no gain. It's 2nd down on the 2. Gives it to Jeffrey for a touchdown. So Detroit is losing. There's a run for 7 yards. There's Reggie Bush for 4 yards. 17-0 Chicago. And there's Calvin Johnson for 5 yards. 2nd and 10. And there's Fuller, Corey Fuller catching it on Kyle Fuller. And there's Fuller for another reception. And there's Johnson for 8 yards. There's Johnson, incomplete pass though. There's a penalty. There's another penalty. There's another penalty. And then there's Johnson for 11. It's going to be a penalty on Chicago, which is going to give an automatic first down. Looks like defensive holding. There's an incomplete pass, 3rd and 10. There's Stanford to Witt for 4 yards. It's going to be punted to Chicago. And here's a pass to Zach Miller for 6 yards. And here's Forte for 1 yard, 3rd and 3. Let's see, to Bennett for 6 yards and a first down. There's Forte for 10 yards. 1st and 10. There's sacked by Ezekiel Anza. And there's a pass to Santonio Hall for 12. It's 3rd and 3. Marshall's going to pick up the rest with a 5-yard gain and a first down. There's Jeffrey with a 45-yard bomb from Cutler for a touchdown. So it's 23-0. There's Jones making a catch for 19 yards. A 2-minute warning now. There's Johnson for 23 yards. And there's caught by Jones for 25 yards. Almost under a minute left. Now a minute left. And there's Reggie Bush. The bad throw. There's a false start. And there's drop by Tate. But it's going to be a penalty on Detroit, but they're going to kick the field goal. So here's a run of 3. There's Kendall Hunter for 7 to wind down the quarter. So we're in the second half where Chicago gets the ball. There's a deep pass to Marshall, but it's not caught. And there's a pass to Bennett for 3 yards. There's Jeffrey catching the pass for 13 yards on first down. There's Kendall Hunter for 2 yards. And there's a bomb to Alshon Jeffrey, but it's a bad throw. And here's Jeffrey catching it for 6 yards, 2 yards short of the first down. Punted back. It stopped on the 2. But Detroit's going to get 7 yards there and another 5 yards to get out of the jam. So there's Reggie Bush, doesn't get the pass. And there's a Lamar Houston with the pressure there. And there's a 10-yard gain, but it's short. So Chicago's got it. There's Cutler giving it to Forte for 1 yard. And here, you can't get the Miller there. It's a double coverage. Can't get the Marshall. It's going to be punted back. Again, it stopped on the 2. Bush loses 1. Here's Stanford. He has to rush for 13 yards to get out of the jam there. That one's by Corey Fuller for 8 yards. There's Johnson getting it for 5 yards. And here's another one to Johnson. It's incomplete. Offensive holding. There's Witt for 11 yards, getting the penalty yards back. 2nd and 9. Tate doesn't get the ball. And there's Jones, only for 2 yards. So it's punted back to Chicago. Kendall Hunter for 6 yards. Here's Matt Forte getting a reception for 7 yards. And here's Brandon Marshall getting it for 9 yards. Here's Forte, loses 3. 1st and 10 because of a penalty there. And Kendall Hunter picks up 19 yards on the handoff. Forte loses 3 on the handoff. Forte gets another one and loses 2. So it's 3rd and 15. Martellus Bennett loses 3 on the reception. It's going to be punted back. There's Bush for a 27-yard rush. And there's Stanford scrambling for 8 yards. 2nd and 2. Stanford scrambles again for 9 yards. There's Reggie Bush, drops the pass. There's Tate, gets 12 yards on the reception. There's Corey Fuller catching the reception for 1 yard, though. There's Jork Bell losing 4, 3rd and 13. Corey Fuller passes tipped the line, and so they're going to punt back to Chicago. There's Kendall Hunter for 7 yards on the handoff. Here's Hunter for the handoff. Again, loses 3. Forte loses 1. Kick back to Detroit. Here's Bush for 8 yards. And here's Joique Bell for no gain. There's Eric Ebron gets 9 yards for a first down, keeping the drive alive for Detroit. Here's Johnson with a catch of 11 yards, but it's going to be a false start, bringing it back 5 yards, and then 2 bad passes by Stanford. And then Corey Fuller only gets 13 yards, loses 1, turnover on downs, give it back to Chicago. So here's Fuller Forte losing 2, gains 3. It's going to be kicked back to Detroit on their 2. So Jonathan Bostic knocks down that pass. And there's some pressure by Houston. And Corey Fuller picks up 4 yards. Here's Stanford trying to get it to someone and can't. So Cutler is going to give it to Forte on the 7. Loses 1. Sean John picks up that and 1 more yard. John gets nowhere, so it's going to be kicked by Robbie Gould. It's 26-3. So here's a pass caught by Jones from Stanford. Here's another one thrown to Jones for 11 yards. There's Ogletree not getting the pass incomplete. And here, can't get the pass complete by Stanford. But this one's a tape for 28 yards. And here's Jones for the reception of 9 yards. Here's Corey Fuller with the reception of 9 yards. That one's incomplete. False start. And then Orlowski's in the game because it's a lost game. And he only gains 3 there. He's trying to knock on the door. He loses 1 there. And that is the end of the game. So, we're 6-6. We're 500. Goals got a field goal. Bennett, Jeffrey, Matt Prater got a field goal. That's their only points. And Robbie Gould got another one. So, beat a lot of short fields. That's for 1. There's 1 interception. Let's see which one that is. That's their first one. That's when we got a third down. Then they got a fumble that they lost. So Joique Bell and Bush didn't get really anything. Neither did we on the rushing. Kendall Hunter broke out a few good runs. Matthew Stanford, 25 of 43, 280 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Cutler, 20 of 26, 166, 3 touchdowns. So Cutler protected the ball. That's what we need to win. Cutler protecting the damn football. Just like real life. So a lot of short fields, so we don't have a lot of passing yards here. But Bennett and Jeffrey come up with the touchdowns. Lance Briggs gets your only interception of the game. And Zach Miller, Will Sutton recover both of these forced. So Ego Ferguson forced this one. Sheriff McManus forced this one on special teams. So my guess is Sutton picked up this one. Zach Miller picked up this one. Obviously. Okay, so Ezekiel Anza got 1 sack. Devin Taylor got the other. We had 1 sack by Ferguson, 2 by Lamar Houston, and 1 by Willie Young. So we actually played some good ball today. We got some good pressure, good hurries, good blocks, good knocks on Stanford. So they only had Darius Slade was the only one to get past defense. We had Conte with 2, James with 1, Briggs with 1, Christian Jones with 1. Yep, Corey Hillard. We knew that was going to happen. Garza and Slauson gave the only 2 for us. Total plays. So let's look at this. Injury report. Jared Allen is now out. So Cornelius Washington is going to be activated. Cornelius Washington is going to be activated. We're going to see Artie Fletcher start for Jared Allen. We're going to pull off Shea McClellan. No, we're still going to keep off Shea McClellan. We're going to activate Sessions Luther and deactivate Sonoris Perry. So why are we going to do that? Is if we have to roll Christian Jones into something here. I don't want to have to do that, but you know what? I'm actually going to activate Shea just in case. So we're going to have Fletcher's going to be here. Washington's going to be here. We keep this. No special teams for Shea because he is sprained. He's got a sprained knee. So we're going to keep him like this. And then goal line formations. Fletcher, the right end, or Washington. Well, Washington has better pass rush. Actually, Fletcher may not be as strong. Like in his strength. But when he makes up in strength, he has endurance. So when he gets hurt, we're going to have Cornelius Washington come in. Yeah, that looks good. Should I technically have Willie Young? Willie Young's got 3 sacks. You have 6. You're a good pass rusher. I think we're going to keep it as this. So the next episode, we have Dallas and the Saints. Then we go to Detroit and the Vikings. So looking at our standings so far, Green Bay's 10-2. I mean, let's see, with 4 games left, it is possible they lose a division, but not really. New York has clinched their division. Atlanta and Seattle still fighting in their specific division. We're 6-6. It's really Minnesota would get 1 playoff spot. And then we're fighting with Arizona and San Francisco, which I think we've played. San Francisco we lost. I thought we played Arizona. Nope, we only played San Francisco. So they have the tiebreaker on us. So what we're going to look at doing is trying to, let's see who they play. So Arizona Cardinals play the Chiefs, Rams, Seahawks, 49ers. So it's possible they lose 3 of those games. The 49ers play the Raiders, Seahawks, Chargers, Cardinals. So it's possible they only lose 1 game. Maybe 2, but that gives the Cardinals the other one. So next time, we're going to look at what's going to happen. How this is going to play out in our next 2 games. If we pull ahead from Minnesota, because they have to play the Jets, Lions, Dolphins, and then me again. Or if we're actually knocked out of playoff contention and we need to look forward to next season. Like I said, I have the draft class that just drafted this year in here. It's been looked over by some people. It's pretty accurate. Also some front office football variation and some things. So we're going to see where this goes next time. Later, guys.